Okay, so welcome guys, welcome to this module where we're going to be talking about liquidity, how to identify and trade areas of liquidity. Okay, now I purposely left this particular section till the end because there are certain things that you need to first of all understand before we get to liquidity. Okay, liquidity is more like an advanced concept that is going to help you become a much more better and profitable trader. Okay, so without wasting so much time, let's get into the discussion of today. As usual, what is liquidity? Okay, liquidity can be seen as the fuel that propels price to move to a particular to move. Okay, liquidity can be seen as a fuel that propels price to move in a particular direction. Okay, just like the way we have a car, you can have a car, but then, excuse me, if there's no fuel in that particular car, the car is not going to move. So is the market. So you can see that the market always moves from one point to another. Okay, so what I'm trying to explain about liquidity is that liquidity is what is responsible for that move. Liquidity is what's pushing the market to move from one price to another price. Okay, liquidity is simply, in simple terms, mean a pool of money. The crypto is a financial market. Okay, so what moves the money? What moves the market is money. So when you hear me talking about liquidity, you know that I'm talking about what? About money. Okay, now there's another different version of what liquidity is, but the liquidity we're talking about here is actually what pushes the market to move in a particular direction. Okay, market is moved by liquidity. Yeah, if you see market moving, just know that it is money that's moving the market. Like we said, what pushes price to go up or down is the forces of demand and supply. Okay, now how is that forces of demand and supply felt? It is felt via money. Sure, you get, so it is via money, and that money is what constitutes the liquidity we are talking about. Okay, so this is going to be a very, very interesting concept as you're going to learn how the big banks want to cheat you. Remember, trading is a zero-sum game. By zero sum, I mean somebody has to lose for you to win. Okay, so on the other hand, just as you're here trying to, or you're learning how to trade to make money, so is another person learning how to trade and make money. So it's the smartest person that ends up winning. So liquidity is going to give you an advantage, give you an idea so that you don't get killed in the market. Okay, so let's proceed. Liquidity. So before the market would move significantly, price must tap into or clear liquidity. All right, remember, I already explained this one that whatever big move is in the market, if you discover that sometimes you might be looking at the market might be moving sluggishly. But for that significant price to move, then there's a particular point where the moment the price gets to that particular region, there's a significant move. So in such situation, price has tapped into the liquidity. So you most likely hear people say that market is not volatile today, no liquidity. That is because the market is slow. But when there's liquidity in the market is going to be moving with the speed of light. Okay. So the process for which price clears liquidity before the big move in a specific direction is called liquidity sweep. So if you hear people saying liquidity sweep, just know that okay, price has actually tapped into the pool. So the moment price tap into the pool, then okay, so liquidity sweep should not really be a big concept for you guys, right? So and the area where such liquidity lies is called an inducement. Okay, called an inducement. Okay, so remember we said liquidity sweep, as in the liquidity is that particular, it's a pool of money, right? So for it to be able to, so what we mean by inducement now is that particular area or that zone where there's the money. So before price is going to move, the price must actually go and clear that inducement. So like where the liquidity is sitting. So before price is going to experience a big move, price must actually go and touch or tap into that area, and that area is called inducement. Okay, some of this concept are what SMC traders, smart money concept traders use. So I'm bringing it here because it's going to help you become a much more better and effective trader. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you more examples. So in case you're not understanding the big grammars, the pictorial illustration should help you understand better. Okay. So now let me ask you this question. Have you ever experienced a situation where the market took you out before finally moving exactly as you analyzed? As you identified your structures and they'll be like, okay, wow, I'm going to make money from this particular market. And then the moment the market got to your entry, it actually triggered the trade. But what happened? The price started go, you're in profit, you're already celebrating. In fact, you don't already start the go, the price close, you're already thinking of what you're going to do with the money. And then all of a sudden the price reversed, went against you, triggered your stop loss, and then you'll be like, oh God, what's wrong? And then before you know it, the price came back and went exactly as you predicted. If you actually been interacting with the market or if you've been practicing, you're going to understand that certain times after you've identified your support and resistance or your trend line, things like this happen. Okay, so liquidity is what's responsible for that kind of manipulation. I used to call it manipulation. So understanding liquidity is going to help you know how to spot those manipulation and take advantage of it. Okay, this is a clear illustration. Okay, I taught you guys about support and resistance. So if I identify our support and resistance clearly, and then you can see that I've placed my trade. Okay, so I'm going to buy at the resistance, because after resistance, what we know, what the retail, they call us the retail. Those of us that have small money to trade. Me and you are all retails. So what the whales, people like them, Elon Musk, Mike, all those people that use billions to trade, they call us the retailers. So the general knowledge of what retailers know is that the moment price gets to resistance, you short at the resistance. You get. So this is exactly what they're going to be doing. So that is why a lot of people that just have an idea of just the trend line and the support and resistance never become profitable, because they're always used as exit liquidity by the big boys. Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys how I've been able to still use the conventional support and resistance and trend line and still remain profitable. I just added a little concept of what I'm teaching you guys now. Okay, you can see that after you've identified your structures, you can see how the market neatly went up, triggered your trade, and you're already in profit. You're already celebrating. Oh God, I'm going to make money. Crypto is sweet, beautiful. And then before you know it, you can see what happened. The price immediately reversed back, triggered your stop loss, and came back and went exactly as you analyzed. There's nothing as painful as this. I trust me, guys. I've been in that situation, and it's painful. After you've taken hours to conduct an analysis, and then at the end of the day, the market is just going to come and take you out before moving in your intended direction. It's very, very annoying. Okay, so this is one of my trades that I took on OP. Early DC, where in 2023, right? So you can see how I did the analysis, identified my structures beautifully well. I was like, this thing is going to hit profit, and you can see how the price came, and immediately the price just took me out of the market. What happened? You can see how the price moved exactly as I predicted. Somebody might see this chart and be like, oh, this guy is a good analyst, too. But you can see what happened there. It was just a small mistake that made me to lose money here. And that is what I'm trying to teach you guys there, because a lot of you here, you can see you can see my structure, you can see my trend channel, identified it properly. Okay, I marked out my structures very well. But what happened? The market decided to show me shaggy. So this must now, this concept, not that now, don't get me wrong. If you discover now there's the box, there's 2 yellow box below that's at my entry, and then below it. The first one was what I thought was inducement. Okay. But I told you inducement is where there's a pile of money. That specific place that the pile of money is resting. So the first, when I picked my entry, I was like, okay, that is, if you look at by the left corner, you're going to see where I did one small slanted line that is below my trend channel. You're going to see a slanted line like that. So I was like, okay, that is an inducement. The market take out an inducement, is going to come and trigger my entry, and I'm going to be in profit. Little did I know that where I was picking my entry was an inducement. So more like there was 2 inducements. The first one, I identified the first one, but I didn't see the second one, or rather I omitted the second one. I can see how the market came and sniped on my stop loss, took me out of the market, and went exactly as I analyzed. Okay, these are some of the things that you need to understand if you really want to become profitable. Trust me, nobody's happy seeing you make money. It's only you, it's only yourself. So if you don't learn some of this concept, you being profitable in trading is only going to be an illusion to you. You'll never get to experience it in real life, because a lot of process, so you're going to know how you can take advantage of this liquidity. Okay, so if you've ever experienced that scenario which I just described now, then it means you were used as liquidity. Of course, I told you that liquidity is that particular job where there's a pile of money. You can see that the moment, let me go back so you're going to see what I'm talking about here. You can see what happened there. You can see what happened there. The moment the price tapped into the liquidity, you can see what happened. There was a massive pull. So price is not going to make any significant movement if it has not yet tapped into the liquidity. Sure, you get. So if you experience such kind of situation, it means you were the liquidity. So you need to be very, very attentive to this particular session. I'm going to teach you how to identify this liquidity. So you're not going to keep on giving your money to the market, okay? So now liquidity lies in areas where there's a high amount of orders. Of course, we talked about the demand and supply, and then we talked about the order block. Okay, so you can see all these things now, they are kind of related now. So don't worry, as we progress, we're going to begin to understand how each of these things correlate and how you can use them to make a better analysis. Okay, now these orders could either be limit orders, limit buy orders, limit sell orders, or stop loss. Of course, when I mean limit buy orders, I mean these are where you want to buy them. Let's assume the prices are the support, and then you want to buy. Of course, when you're placing the order, you're going to place the limit buy order. All of this you're going to understand it when you watch the video on futures trading. So when people are placing every human beings think alike. Forget, every trader thinks alike. That is where the concept of support and resistance come into play, because it's not just one person that makes the price to form a support and resistance. It's the collective. It's the whole mass of people that are trading. So we think alike. So where I want to enter the market, that is where over 1 million people also are thinking of entering the market. So now those people that are very, very smart, we call them the smart money guys. That's the big whales. Because so they know how the whole mass is thinking. They will not take advantage of that thinking and make it and send you back to the village. Okay, so where they discover that a lot of retailers, as me and you, are putting our buy, others are buy, they would want to manipulate the market, because that place now forms a what? A liquidity. It forms an inducement. So use our money as a fuel to push price in their own intended direction. So you need to be very, very careful. So even if you want to short the market, you know, when you're shorting the market, you're actually putting funds. So there's a lot of orders there at the resistance. A lot of people are trying to short at the resistance. They are putting their money there. So this smart men, they know how all of this. They've been there. So they think like they will just for a second think like a retailer, and then use that knowledge to harm them. Understand? So we also have the stop loss. Of course, when you've placed you're going to see, I'm going to explain how the stop loss can be used as a liquidity. So you're going to have an idea of all of these things. Let's not be like you said, Para just teach me what is not working. I'm always getting stop loss. No, this is what is going to make you avoid stop loss most of the time. Okay, these areas may sometimes be obvious, while sometimes they are hidden. That is why nobody's ever perfect. Sometimes you might be able to spot the liquidity fast. Sometimes it might be difficult for you to spot. Okay, so you just need to be flexible with your imaginations and keep on practicing and keep on learning. Okay, so you can see this particular instance now. We have our support and our resistance, right? And you can see where I put this red dollar sign. That is where the liquidity is. You know why there's a liquidity there? Because look at where I'm trying to enter the market. That is where I'm putting my stop loss. So you can see in this particular institutional liquidity in form of what? Stop loss. So all our stop losses. So everybody that has been buying at the what? At the support now. When we want to take this particular trade down, all the retailers now, when we pick our enter as the support, we will now put our stop loss slightly above the area. So that place forms a what? A pile of liquidity. You can see how the picture is explanatory. Okay, it's self-explanatory. Okay, so this is stop loss forming as a what? As a liquidity. Right? Now, mind you, this liquidity is kind of much more complex, but as I am trying to simplify it in a way that's going to make you guys understand it faster. Of course, I'm going to make some reference videos that you can go and watch and better understand this concept. If you refuse to go and watch it, now you sabi, because at the end of the day, you wouldn't want to hold me accountable. I've done my own to actually teach you about this concept. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, you can see what happened. Remember, I told you that markets tapped into the liquidity. You can see that the moment the price went up, it actually triggered the trade, and then you began to go as if you're in profit. But before you know it, the market reversed and went against you, because of what? The market cannot move without tapping into liquidity. There's not so much fuel to take the market from the resistance to the support. So the market needs to go and tap into the liquidity and pick in more fuel, pick in more momentum. So you can see what happened. The market went against. So the person will be like, what did I do? I didn't analyze this. Opera did not teach me the support and resistance very well. But you can see what happened there. The market went against them, picked the liquidity, and of course you can see what happened next. The market went exactly as you analyzed. Okay, so this is exactly how these big boys, they manipulate the market and make you to suffer. Okay. So still on what is liquidity, people who don't understand how liquidity works will always find themselves in a situation where their trade hits stop loss before it eventually goes in their intended direction. Okay, if you're conversant with what they call it is what we call stop loss hunt. Like they are hunting your stop loss. A lot of people, they are always angry that to do analysis, but at the end of the day, the stop loss will be stopped out before the market moves in their direction. What is causing that thing is what is liquidity. So what they call it is what manipulation. People are manipulating the market to suit them because they want to use your money as a fuel. Okay, so your success as a technical analyst lies in your ability to spot areas of liquidity and take advantage of it. So you yourself, you don't become a liquidity. Okay, if you don't, you can see the other illustration I did. If you don't spot the liquidity properly, you become the liquidity yourself. Okay, so always learn always try to see how you can put in more effort to learn about liquidity. But there are certain people that the way they show about this liquidity, they'll make their stop loss very, very large. But making your stop loss very, very large can be funny, because sometimes the manipulation can be big. They are crazy. Just as you're thinking that if I make my stop loss big, I'm not going to be used as liquidity. These ways are also thinking like that. They know that some people might want to think big, so they want to say, okay, where should we manipulate this market to? So they're going to also manipulate the market big, so that anywhere where you go put your stop loss, they go hunt them. Okay, so just the idea. So the most safest thing is just to learn about this liquidity, so you can use it to your advantage. Right. So let's proceed. Now, types of liquidity now, okay? There are basically 3 types of liquidity. There are other types of liquidity, but the most prominent one are just 3 types of liquidity, right? We have the trendline liquidity, probably known as TLL. So maybe if you're looking at somebody's chart, they might not want to write big and they might not want to write trendline liquidity, just write TLL. We have equal high liquidity. That's when the market forms two equal points. It's called what an equal high liquidity. You have equal low liquidity, right? Where the market forms two equal low. Okay, so that's when these are the most prominent form of what of liquidity, and the strongest ones are equal highs and what equal lows. Trendline liquidity still works better than the ones that are crazy are equal high and equal low. They hold massive liquidity. Okay, so let us proceed. So you can see them the pictorial illustrations. You can see the equal high liquidity. The market moved up, created the first area of value, moved down, went up again. But instead of creating a new higher high, it ended up creating what equal highs. You can see it's just the way the thing is equal high liquidity, EQH. Okay, you can see how it happened now. So now this whenever you're on your chart and you see that 2 points have been formed like this, know that that point is going to be what it's going to be used as a what as an inducement. Because if you look at it now, some of these retail traders now, the moment they see an equal high, they'll be like, okay, I've seen where prices to reverse. Let me go and put it, enter. They'll go exactly that point that there's what equal high. They want to go and put an order at that particular place. Not that they're going to use as what as exit liquidity. Okay, you can see the equal low too is the same thing when the market forms two low bottom. So the market definitely going to look. You can see the market is going up, right? It's going to do as it's going up, but it's going to come down, clear this equal liquidity via the concept of liquidity sweep before it moves in the intended direction. Okay, so you can see the TLL, the trendline liquidity. That this one is for an uptrend. Let's assume you have an. Don't worry, you're going to begin as we begin to interact with the market. You're going to be seeing this thing live on the chart. Okay, I'm going to also record a station where you're going to see them live on the chart. Okay, this is just like a textbook illustration, but trust me, the textbook illustration and the real life illustration is not so much different like that. If you just have an idea of the concept, you should be able to be profitable. Okay, then you can see the trendline liquidity too for a downtrend, right? For an uptrend and for a downtrend. So this is exactly how they work. Okay. So I know. So what we're asking, so how do we use this liquidity? Okay, so how do you trade using liquidity? Number one, identify your market structure. Of course, you know how you know the routine. Identify your market structures. Then identify possible inducement. Right. So look for your POI. Of course, I explained to you what POI means. There's order block and the rest of them demand zones. Yeah. So after you've identified your POI, you find your OB in the POI. Right. So you place your trade and wait for market to play out. Exactly. Okay. So let me show you pictorial illustrations so you can understand better. Okay. When I said this is a typical market structure, of course, they say identify your market structure. You can see I've identified my support and my resistance here, right? So the next you need to do is what? Identify your liquidity. Of course, you can see my EQH, my equal high liquidity. You can see it is clear there, and of course, they normally represent. If you're looking at anybody's chart and then you see the person put $sign, the $sign means liquidity. Okay, there's liquidity there, right? So you can see that I've placed my liquidity, and of course, look at the area of look at where the liquidity, the EQH is forming. It is forming exactly at the resistance region. So retail traders that do not really understand liquidity go and put their entry. Price always reverse at this particular point too, because that is what I taught you guys when I was talking about resistance. I say when I was teach you guys about support and resistance, I say price always reverse at the resistance, right? So a lot of people think that is just cryptocurrency is sweet too, very easy to understand. If you don't understand what I'm teaching now, even if you know the idea of you know that support and resistance, price will reverse at the resistance. So we don't ever make money because they always use as liquidity. Okay, so number one, identify your structures, then identify your liquidity. You can see how I've identified my EQH here, because if you don't identify your liquidity, you would be used as the liquidity. Okay, so the next one is what? Identify your POI, your point of interest. Of course, we spoke with I remember teaching you guys about demand and supply. So you can see how I use this yellow yellow box to identify my POI, because that's what a point of interest. Remember, I said a demand zone is this is a supply zone now, because there's a pile of orders there. Okay, there's a pile of orders there, so it forms my supply zone. It's a POI there. But then aside from just finding your POI, you need to actually find the order block, because I told you that the supply zone is more like a bigger region. Okay, it's a big region. So in as much as you know that price is going to go there, it is not everywhere that price is going to reverse. There's a specific region that you need to actually find in order for you to know the exact turning point of the price. Okay, so that's why we'll now move to the next one. Identify your order block. Of course, you know we talked about order block in one of the videos. You can see how everything is now connecting. You can see that inside my supply zone, I've been able to identify my order block there. Now you can see my bearish OB. All of this is they're not really difficult, but then if you actually give this thing your time, you're definitely going to understand it. You You can see how I've identified my order block. Okay, and of course, once you identify your order block, you're going to use your source candle. I already taught you guys how to use your source candle to know your entry and where you're going to set your stop loss. Of course, you can see the thin ash line inside the yellow line. So you can see now somebody that just know about supply and demand would pick his entry at the beginning of this yellow region. Yeah, you're still correct, no doubt about it. But then somebody that will pick his order block inside would have a much more better price. That's what we call the premium and discount price. Okay, somebody that will pick his own entry from the tip of this yellow box, that's from the beginning of this yellow box, is going to be buying at the premium price. Then you that now have an idea of order block, you're not going to buy at discount price. Okay, a discount price is going to help you. Don't be confused when I say discount and premium. Say discount is going to give you a better price. Okay, premium, in as much as both parties can be profitable, good, but then those that will know how to refine, they call it the refinement, where you go and refine to be sure that you have a very, very sweet entry. Okay, so that's the idea of the order block. You can see how I refined and then I found my order block, and of course you can see how I marked my entry from my order block. Because you can see it. I already taught you guys how to use your OB to mark out your entry and stop loss. You can see how my stop loss is slightly above the source candle, and you can see my entry is starting from the beginning of the source candle. And of course you can see it's all above the liquidity. So I'm expecting price to take out the inducement, clear the liquidity before triggering my trade, and I should be in profit. Okay, and of course you can see how the trade play out. Okay, now this is more like the best case scenario. Okay, sometimes you might get stopped out of the market. It happens. Okay, so but most of the time this thing works 80% of the time, right? So you can see what happened here. The markets went up, it triggered, and then people that bought at the resistance will be like, price is going to go my direction, I'm already in profit. And you can see what happened next. The price went against them, ate their stop loss, used them as liquidity, and then triggered your own trade. And you can see how the market is gradually cascading down and putting you in massive profit. Okay, so this is exactly how we use the liquidity. I want to believe that it's explanatory, and you should be able to replicate some of these structures on your chart. Okay, of course I'm going to send you some videos, make reference to them, to YouTube videos as recommended to get better understanding. I'm going to be recommending a few channels for you. There's one, Trading Hub. Yeah, Trading Hub is good. Okay, so just go to, don't worry, I'm going to, on the group chat, just ask me in case I don't ask you, because I'm recording this video. I'm not currently online when I'm recording this video, so I might not send it, but the moment you watch it and then I am yet to drop it, just send me a reminder, send me a DM, and I'm going to send you some of these videos, YouTube videos you should follow and learn better. Okay, so thank you for staying with me to this particular end. I want to believe that you're getting value, and yeah, you're almost ready to start trading the financial market. Okay, so see you guys